I got released from prison after 10 years, and my son asked, "Are you the man from the photos?" I walked through the front door of my old house for the first time in a decade, carrying everything I owned in a brown paper bag. My wife Lisa had moved back into our place 6 months ago to prepare for my release, getting our son Tyler ready for me to come home after 10 years away. Tyler was 7 when I went to prison. Now he was 17, taller than me with broad shoulders, my dark eyes but Lisa's stubborn chin. I'd imagined this reunion moment for years during those long nights in my cell, but what I didn't expect was the way Tyler looked at me when I walked through that door. Not recognition, not relief or joy, pure fear. "Mom, is this him?" Tyler asked Lisa, staying behind the kitchen counter like it was a protective barrier between us. "Is this the man from the photos you showed me?" Lisa went completely pale. "Tyler, this is your father. We talked about this already." But Tyler kept staring at me with this intense, searching look, like he was trying to match my face to something specific in his memory. "He looks older than in the pictures," he said quietly to Lisa, never taking his eyes off me. I figured he meant the old family photos Lisa must have been showing him to help him remember what I looked like. I'd been gone for most of his childhood, after all. It made sense he'd need reminders. But over the next few days, Tyler's behavior got progressively stranger. He'd watch me when he thought I wasn't looking, whispering urgently to Lisa whenever I left the room. When I tried to start conversations about school or his interests, he'd give one-word answers and find excuses to escape to his bedroom. One evening, I heard him on the phone in his room, his voice tense and urgent. "But Mom said he's my dad now. What if she's lying? What if it's really him, the one from the photos?" I knocked on his door. "Tyler, who are you talking to?" He hung up immediately and claimed it was just a friend from school asking about homework, but his face was flushed red, and he wouldn't make eye contact with me for the rest of the night. I asked Lisa about the photos Tyler kept referencing. She said she'd been showing him our old family albums over the past few months to help him prepare for my return and remember our life together. But when I went through the photo albums myself, most of the pictures of me had been carefully removed, leaving empty spaces on the pages. The next day, I caught Tyler going through a shoebox hidden in his bedroom closet. When he saw me standing in the doorway, he quickly shoved everything back inside, but not before I glimpsed newspaper clippings and printed photographs scattered across his bed. "Tyler, what are those papers?" "Nothing important," he said, clutching the box against his chest. "Just some stuff Mom gave me to look at." That night, after everyone had gone to sleep, I found the shoebox tucked under Tyler's bed. Inside were newspaper articles about my criminal case, photos from my trial, and pictures of me being led away from the courthouse in handcuffs and an orange jumpsuit. But there were other photos too, ones that made my stomach turn. Crime scene photos that had been leaked to the media years ago, photos of my victim. At the bottom of the box was a handwritten note in Lisa's careful script. "This is the man who hurt innocent people, the man who destroyed families just like ours. Remember everything I taught you about staying safe around dangerous men." My hands were shaking as I read those words. Lisa had been showing Tyler these photos for months, but she wasn't telling him I was his father coming home. She'd been preparing him for something completely different. The next morning, I confronted Lisa while Tyler was getting ready for school. "What exactly did you tell our son about me?" "Coming actually back in 5. Her face drained of all color. "What do you mean by that?" "Maybe and well. The photos, Lisa. The newspaper clippings. The note you wrote. What did you actually tell Tyler?" That's when Tyler walked into the kitchen for breakfast, and when he saw me holding his shoebox, his eyes went wide with absolute terror. "Mom," he whispered, backing slowly toward the door. "You promised me he was dead. You said the man in those photos was dead and could never hurt us." And that's when I finally realized what Lisa had been preparing Tyler for all these years. The kitchen goes silent. Lisa's face drains of all remaining color as Tyler's words hang in the air between us. "Dead?" I repeat, my voice barely a whisper. "You told our son I was dead?" Tyler backs against the wall, eyes darting between us like a cornered animal. His breathing comes in short, panicked bursts. "Tyler, go to your room," Lisa says, her voice trembling. "No." I step forward, still clutching the shoebox. "He deserves to hear this. What exactly did you tell him about me, Lisa?" Tyler's eyes lock onto the shoebox in my hands. "Mom, he has the pictures. You said no one would ever find them." His voice cracks. "You said he killed my dad." The words hit me like a physical blow. I stagger backward, my hip connecting painfully with the kitchen counter. "I didn't," I start, but Tyler is already bolting past me, sprinting down the hallway. His bedroom door slams with enough force to rattle the framed photos on the wall, photos where my face has been carefully removed. "What have you done?" I ask Lisa, my voice dangerously quiet. She sinks into a kitchen chair, her shoulders slumped in defeat. "I was protecting him." "Protecting him?" I slam the shoebox onto the table. Crime scene photos spill across the surface. "By telling him his father was murdered? By telling him I'm some kind of killer who's now living in his house? You don't understand what it was like," Lisa says, her voice hardening. 7 years old, and every night he'd cry himself to sleep asking when Daddy was coming home. The other kids at school would tease him about having a father in prison. "So you told him I was dead?" I run my hands through my hair, tugging at the roots. "And not just dead, murdered? By me?" Lisa's eyes meet mine, defiant now. "I didn't plan it. It just happened." He was 8, and his teacher assigned this project about family heroes. All the other kids were writing about their dads. What was Tyler supposed to write? "My hero is my dad who killed a woman while driving drunk?" The familiar shame burns through me at her words. 10 years. And it still feels like yesterday, the screech of tires, the shattering glass, the knowledge that I'd taken a life because I'd been too stubborn to call a cab. "So I told him a story," Lisa continues, "that his father was a good man who died protecting someone. It was easier that way. He stopped crying at night." "And the man in the photos?" I ask, pointing to the newspaper clippings of me in handcuffs. "The dangerous man you warned him about?" Lisa looks away. "When he was 12, he found an old newspaper in his friend's garage with your case in it. He recognized your name." I panicked. I told him you were the man who killed his father. "Jesus Christ, Lisa. I feel sick. Our son thinks I murdered myself?" "I needed him to be afraid of you," she whispers. "I was terrified he'd try to find you in prison if he knew the truth, that he'd idolize you somehow, or worse, turn out like you." Her words cut deeper than any prison shank ever could have. I lean against the wall, suddenly exhausted. "Where did you even get these?" I ask, picking picking up one of the crime scene photos. Lisa stands and walks to the living room bookshelf. She pulls down what looks like a photo album and brings it back to the table. I've been collecting everything. Newspaper articles, court transcripts. I thought when he was older, I'd tell him the truth. I open the album. It's a carefully constructed narrative, me before prison, happy family photos with baby Tyler, then newspaper clippings about the accident, my trial, my sentencing, and finally, obituaries. My obituary, written by Lisa's own hand, describing a tragic accident that took my life. You wrote my death, I say numbly. I had to make it convincing. She flips to the back of the album where there are photos of a cemetery. I even bought a plot. There's a headstone with your name on it. I close the album, unable to look anymore. Does he know anything true about me? He knows you have his eyes, Lisa says quietly, and that you loved baseball. From down the hall, I hear a floorboard creak. Tyler is listening. I can't stay here tonight, I say, gathering the photos back into the shoebox. He's terrified of me, Lisa. He thinks I'm a murderer who somehow infiltrated his home. Where will you go? There's a motel near the bus station. I stand, suddenly desperate for air. I'll call you tomorrow. As I walk toward the door, I catch a glimpse of Tyler's face peering around his bedroom doorframe. Our eyes meet for a brief moment, his wide with confusion and fear, mine wet with unshed tears. I never killed anyone, Tyler, I say softly, and I would never hurt you. When you're ready to hear the truth, I'll be waiting. I leave the house I dreamed about for 10 years, carrying nothing but the clothes on my back and a shoebox full of lies. The spring air feels cold against my face as I walk down the street, a stranger in the neighborhood where my son has grown up believing I was a monster. At the motel, I spread the contents of the shoebox across the bed. News clippings about the accident, my mugshot, crime scene photos of the wrecked cars, the handwritten note from Lisa warning Tyler about dangerous men. I've been out of prison for less than 24 hours, and already I feel more lost than I ever did inside. 10 years of imagining my homecoming, of planning how I'd reconnect with my son, all destroyed by a lie so elaborate it makes my head spin. My phone rings at midnight. It's Lisa. He's been asking questions, she says without preamble, about what really happened. And what did you tell him? The truth. That I lied to protect him. That you're his father and you made a terrible mistake, but you're not a murderer. Her voice breaks. Vincent, I'm so sorry. I never thought you'd actually come home. What does that mean? I thought you'd get paroled and go somewhere else. Start over. I never prepared for you to actually want to come back to us. The realization is bitter. You never wanted me back at all. I didn't know what I wanted, she admits. But Tyler deserves to know his father. The real you, not the monster I created. She pauses. I found a family therapist, Dr. Martinez. She can see us tomorrow afternoon if you're willing. I look at the scattered evidence of my past spread across the motel bedspread, the proof of my crime, my punishment, and the elaborate fiction my wife created in my absence. One session. I agree. But Lisa, no more lies. Not one. Or I walk away for good. After we hang up, I lie awake staring at the water-stained ceiling. Somewhere across town, my son is learning that the father he thought was dead has been alive all along, and the dangerous killer he feared is actually the man who used to read him bedtime stories. I wonder which truth is harder for him to accept. Dr. Martinez's office smells like vanilla and something clinical underneath. She's younger than I expected, maybe mid-40s, with kind eyes that have probably seen every type of family dysfunction imaginable. Still, I wonder if she's ever handled a case quite like ours. Vincent, she says, gesturing to the chair across from her desk. Thank you for coming in alone first. I think it's important we establish some baseline understanding before bringing Tyler into these sessions. I sink into the chair, feeling the weight of the past 24 hours pressing down on my shoulders. Tyler refused to come today anyway. He's terrified of me. Lisa explained the situation. Dr. Martinez says, her voice carefully neutral. It's quite unusual. That's one word for it. I rub my face with my hands. My son thinks I murdered his father, who is actually me. How do we even begin to untangle that? Dr. Martinez leans forward slightly. First, I need to understand how this fabrication evolved. Lisa has agreed that I can share what she told me during her private session this morning. I nod, bracing myself. According to Lisa, the lie began small. When Tyler was 8, he had a school assignment about heroes. He wanted to write about you, but Lisa panicked. She told him you had died in an accident, thinking it would be easier than explaining prison. And the part where I became my own murderer? Dr. Martinez consults her notes. When Tyler was 12, he found newspaper clippings about your case at a friend's house. He recognized your name and confronted Lisa. She claims she was afraid he would glorify you or try to contact you in prison, so she told him the man in the articles you had killed his father. I shake my head in disbelief. And he believed that? Children often accept what parents tell them, especially about traumatic subjects. Lisa reinforced the story with the fabricated gravesite and memorial photos. She says she intended to tell him the truth eventually, but never found the right moment. And everyone else? Our neighbors? Tyler's school? Dr. Martinez hesitates. This is where it gets complicated. Lisa admits she shared aspects of your case with certain community members, your neighbor Diane, Tyler's school counselor, a few parents of Tyler's friends. She says she wanted them to be vigilant when you were released. My stomach twists. Vigilant? Like I'm some kind of predator? She was operating from fear, Vincent. Not that this excuses. A knock interrupts us. Lisa enters, her face drawn and pale. Tyler's school just called. They want us to come in for an emergency meeting tomorrow. They're concerned about safety issues. Because of me, I say flatly. She nods, avoiding my eyes. The principal mentioned something about other parents expressing concerns. Dr. Martinez gestures for Lisa to sit. This is precisely what we need to address. The narrative you created has spread beyond your control, Lisa. Now we need a strategy to correct it. I'll talk to the school, I say. Explain who I really am. That might not be enough, Lisa says quietly. People know about the accident. They know someone died. I served my time, I snap. I'm not a murderer. I made a horrible mistake that I've paid for every day for 10 years. Dr. Martinez raises a hand. Before we address the community, we need to focus on Tyler. Has he spoken to you at all since yesterday, Vincent? No. He locked himself in his room when I came to pick up Lisa this morning. Lisa's phone buzzes. She checks it and her face drains of color. It's Diane from next door. She says she saw Tyler walking home with you earlier and wanted to make sure he's okay. She shows me the text. Just checking, Tyler got home safe. Saw him with that man. Remember what we discussed about keeping distance? That man, I repeat, my voice hollow. I'm that man in my own neighborhood. After the session, we return to the house in silence. Lisa goes to start dinner while I stand awkwardly in the hallway, unsure of my place in this home that should be mine but feels foreign. I hear movement from Tyler's room and make a decision. It's time to try bridging this gap. I knock softly on his door. Tyler, can we talk? Silence. I know this is confusing. I just want to explain. Go away. His voice is muffled through the door. I'm not who your mom said I was. I never hurt anyone intentionally. I saw the pictures, he says. The woman in the car. There was so much blood. I close my eyes, fighting the memories. That was an accident, Tyler. A terrible accident that I'll regret forever. But I'm not a violent person. I'm not a murderer. The door cracks open an inch. Tyler's eye appears in the gap, studying me warily. Mom said you'd try to explain it away. Can I come in? Just for a minute? He hesitates, then opens the door wider. I step inside, careful to maintain distance between us. His room is typical teenage chaos. Clothes strewn about, gaming posters on the walls, school books piled on a desk. But something catches my eye. The corner of a photograph peeking out from under his mattress. Tyler follows my gaze and lunges for the bed, but it's too late. I've already seen what it is, one of the crime scene photos from the shoebox. Why do you keep that? I ask quietly. To remind me, he mumbles, shoving it deeper under the mattress. Remind you of what? His breathing quickens. What happens when people drink and drive? What happens to innocent people? I take a step toward him, and his reaction is immediate. He backs against the wall, his chest rising and falling rapidly. His eyes widen in panic. Don't come near me, he gasps, sliding down the wall. I can't breathe. Tyler, I freeze, recognizing the signs of a panic attack. It's okay. I'm not going to hurt you. Lisa appears in the doorway. What happened? She rushes to Tyler, wrapping her arms around him. Shh, it's okay. Breathe with me. She glares up at me. What did you do? Nothing. I just wanted to talk to him. Look what happens when you push, she hisses. He's not ready. Tyler's breathing gradually steadies as Lisa talks him through the attack. When he's calmer, she helps him to his bed. I think you should go, she tells me, her voice cold. This isn't working. Lisa, if you keep pushing, I'll take him away somewhere you won't find us, she threatens in a low voice. Don't test me, Vincent. I back out of the room, defeated. In the hallway, I notice Tyler's backpack leaning against the wall. A notebook has fallen out. Its pages open to what looks like a journal entry. I shouldn't read it, but something compels me to look. If he really is my dad, why did Mom lie? And if he's not the killer, why do I keep dreaming about making him pay for what he did? Sometimes I think about how easy it would be. He sleeps on the couch. I could just... The entry stops there. I slide the notebook back into the backpack, my hands trembling. My own son is having fantasies about hurting me. The realization hits me like a physical blow. This isn't just about correcting a lie anymore. This is about something much darker that Lisa has cultivated in our son, a desire for vengeance against a monster that never existed. I retreat to the living room couch that has become my bed, wondering if I'll ever be able to undo the damage that 10 years of lies has done to my son, and wondering if it's safe for me to close my eyes in this house that should be home but feels increasingly like enemy territory. I stand outside the Walsh's modest two-story house, my hand frozen mid-knock. It's been 10 years since I last saw them, 10 years since I destroyed their family with one selfish decision. The last time I saw Mrs. Walsh was across a courtroom, her face contorted with grief as she screamed that I'd taken everything from her. My therapist in prison suggested that seeking forgiveness might help my recovery. I never had the courage then. Now, I'm not here for me. I'm here because I need Tyler to understand who I really am. Before I can knock, the door swings open. Mrs. Walsh stands there, older now, her hair streaked with gray. Her eyes widen in recognition, then narrow. Vincent Cross, she says, her voice surprisingly steady. I wondered if you'd show up eventually. Mrs. Walsh, Sandra, she corrects me. After what happened between us, formalities seem pointless. She doesn't invite me in, but she doesn't slam the door either. We stand in awkward silence until I find my voice again. I wanted to tell you how sorry I am, not just for what happened, but for not having the courage to face you before now. Sandra's eyes study me, searching for something. Are you drinking again? No, 10 years sober. She nods slightly. Good, that's something, at least. She hesitates, then opens the door wider. You might as well come in. I've had a decade to prepare for this conversation. Her living room is filled with photos of her daughter, Melissa, the young woman I killed when I drove drunk after a party, 26 years old, a medical student. A life of promise ended because I thought I was fine to drive. I have a son, I say quietly, looking at a graduation photo of Melissa. He's 17 now. He doesn't know me. Sandra sits across from me, her hands folded in her lap. Why are you telling me this? My wife. She told him I was dead. Then she told him I was the man who killed his father. He's terrified of me. A bitter laugh escapes Sandra. So you want my forgiveness to convince your son you're not a monster? Is that it? No, I say quickly. I don't expect forgiveness. I want him to know the truth about what happened, about who I am. And who are you, Vincent? The question hangs between us. Who am I? A drunk driver who took a life? A convicted felon? A father trying to reconnect with his son? I'm someone who made the worst mistake possible, I finally say. Someone who spent every day since trying to be better than I was. We talk for nearly 2 hours. She tells me about Melissa's dreams, her quirks, her favorite books. I tell her about my recovery, the support groups I led in prison, the letters I wrote to Tyler that were never delivered. By the time I leave, something has shifted between us, not forgiveness exactly, but a mutual recognition of shared pain. What I don't know is that Tyler has followed me here. I don't see him watching from across the street as I shake Sandra's hand on her porch. I don't notice him trailing me as I walk to the small memorial garden the Walshes planted for Melissa at the local park. I'm sitting on a bench beside Melissa's memorial plaque when Tyler approaches, his footsteps deliberately loud on the gravel path. Why did you come here? He demands, standing at a distance, his posture defensive. I look up, startled. Tyler, how did you? I followed you. Mom said you were manipulating the situation, trying to make yourself look good. Your mom knows I'm here? Tyler's face darkens. She saw you leave the house this morning. Called Mrs. Walsh to warn her. You might might show up. I close my eyes briefly. Of course she did. So why did you come? Tyler asks again, taking a step closer. To get her to tell me you're not so bad after all? No, I say quietly. I came because I needed to face her. I killed her daughter, Tyler, not with malice or intent, but because I made a terrible choice to drive after drinking. Tyler's eyes flick to the memorial plaque. Mom said you were drunk and high, that you laughed when they arrested you. The accusation hits me like a physical blow. What? No, I was drunk, yes, but I wasn't high, and I definitely didn't laugh. I was devastated. I still am. Then why do the newspaper articles say you showed no remorse? Because I was in shock, because I couldn't process what I'd done. I run a hand through my hair. Tyler, have you researched my case? He looks away. I've been reading about it online since I found out who you really were. There are whole forums about you. Forums? True crime websites. They call you the remorseless road killer. They say you only got 10 years because you had a good lawyer. My stomach turns. That's not true. None of that is true. Then what is true? Tyler demands, his voice cracking. Because Mom showed me the crime scene photos. I saw what you did. I was drunk. I admit. I ran a red light and hit another car. Melissa Walsh died instantly. I pled guilty to vehicular manslaughter and served my full sentence. I've been sober ever since. I meet his eyes. What I did was unforgivable, but I'm not a murderer. I didn't set out to hurt anyone. Tyler sits on the bench, keeping as much distance between us as possible. Mom said you had a history of violence. That's why she was afraid. I've never been violent, I say firmly. Not before the accident. Not during my time in prison. Your mother was afraid, yes, but not because of any violence. She was afraid you'd learn the truth and hate her for lying. I wrote to you, Tyler says suddenly. When I was 12, I found your name in the articles and wrote to you in prison. My heart stops. I never got any letter from you. Mom said you sent it back. Said you didn't want anything to do with me. The cruelty of this lie hits me harder than any other. Tyler, I wrote to you every week for 10 years. Birthday cards, Christmas cards, letters about my life, questions about yours. I never got anything back. I thought your mom was just protecting you. Tyler's face pales. You wrote to me? I have copies, I say. In my bag at the motel. Every letter I sent, I made a copy first. It was the only way I felt connected to you. We sit in silence, the weight of Lisa's deception settling between us. Finally, Tyler speaks. I want to see them. The letters. Back at the house, Lisa is waiting, her face a storm of emotions when she sees us together. Where have you been? She demands, looking from me to Tyler. I followed him to Mrs. Walsh's house, Tyler says, his voice surprisingly steady. And then, to Melissa's memorial. Lisa's eyes widen. You went to the Walshes? How dare you drag them into this? He didn't drag anyone, Tyler says before I can respond. He was apologizing. And Mrs. Walsh talked to him. You don't understand, Lisa says, her voice rising. He's manipulating you, Tyler. This is what he does. Did you take his letters? Tyler asks abruptly. The ones he wrote me from prison? Lisa freezes. What? He says he wrote to me every week. For 10 years. Did you hide them from me? The color drains from Lisa's face. I was protecting you! By lying? Tyler's voice cracks. By making me think my father was dead? Then making me think he was a murderer? You don't understand what it was like. Lisa shouts. When your father went to prison, people talked. They whispered about us at the grocery store, at your school. They called him a killer. So you decided to confirm their worst assumptions? I ask quietly. I was scared. Lisa's composure finally breaks. I was alone with a 7-year-old son, and everyone was judging us for what you did. It was easier to say you were dead than to explain why Daddy was in prison for killing someone. So you lied? Tyler says flatly. And then you kept lying. And then you made the lie worse. I didn't know how to stop, Lisa admits, tears streaming down her face. By the time you were old enough to understand, the lie was too big. The next day, Dr. Martinez's office feels too small for the three of us. The tension is palpable as we sit in uncomfortable silence, waiting for her to begin. I understand we've had some significant developments, Dr. Martinez says, looking between us. Tyler, would you like to start? Tyler, who insisted on coming today, nods stiffly. I know the truth now. About the accident, about the letters, about everything. And how do you feel about what you've learned? Angry. Tyler's voice is tight. At both of them. At Dad for driving drunk and killing someone. At Mom for lying about everything. Dr. Martinez nods. That's understandable. Vincent, how about you? I search for the right words. Grateful that Tyler's willing to hear the truth. Angry about the lost years. Scared that it's too late to fix this. Lisa wipes her eyes. Ashamed. Terrified. Like I've ruined everything by trying to protect my son. The session is brutal. Tyler confronts Lisa about the intercepted letters, the fabricated grave, the embellished stories about my crime. Lisa admits to her fear, her shame, her gradual construction of an elaborate lie. I acknowledge my responsibility for creating the situation in the first place through my terrible choice. By the end, we're all emotionally exhausted. As we prepare to leave, I turn to Tyler. I want you to know something, I say quietly. If my presence is too difficult for you, I'll go. I can find somewhere else to live. Give you space and time. This is your choice, Tyler. Not mine, not your mom's. Tyler looks at me for a long moment, his dark eyes, my eyes, searching my face. I don't know what I want yet, he says finally, but I want to read those letters first. It's not much, but it's a start. A chance to rebuild from truth instead of lies. As we walk out of Dr. Martinez's office, I realize that forgiveness from Tyler, from the Walshes, from myself might be possible after all. Not today, maybe not tomorrow, but someday. And for now, that's enough to keep going. 3 days after our confrontation at Dr. Martinez's office, Tyler calls me at the motel. His voice is tense, guarded, but there's something else there, a hesitant curiosity that gives me hope. I want to hear your version, he says without preamble, about what happened that night, the accident. I sit on the edge of the bed, my heart racing. Are you sure? Yeah, not at the house though, somewhere neutral. We agree to meet at a coffee shop downtown. When I arrive, Tyler is already there, hunched over a mug in the corner booth. He's wearing a gray hoodie pulled up despite the warm spring day, like he's trying to hide. I order a black coffee and slide into the seat across from him, careful to maintain distance. Thank you for coming, I say. Tyler stares into his mug. I read some of your letters last night. Mom finally gave them to me. All of them? No, just a few. She says she burned most of them. His eyes meet mine briefly. You wrote a a lot. Every week for 10 years. He fidgets with a sugar packet. In one of them, you mentioned the anniversary of the accident. You said it was the worst day of your year. It still is. Tyler takes a deep breath. So tell me what happened. The truth. I wrap my hands around my mug, anchoring myself as I prepare to revisit the worst night of my life. I was at a work party. I'd just gotten a promotion, and everyone was celebrating. I had too much to drink. Way too much. Friends offered to call me a cab, but I insisted I was fine. The shame is still raw, even after all these years. I was driving home around midnight. There was a red light at the intersection of Maple and 4th. I thought I could make it through before it changed. Tyler's eyes are fixed on me now, unblinking. Melissa Walsh was driving through on her green light. I hit the passenger side of her car at about 40 miles an hour. She died instantly. My voice catches. The police came. I failed the breathalyzer. I was arrested at the scene. Were you laughing? Tyler asks suddenly. Mom said you were laughing when they put you in the police car. I flinch at the accusation. No, Tyler. I was crying. I was in shock. The officer who arrested me noted in his report that I was emotionally distraught. So Mom lied about that too. Your mother. I choose my words carefully. I think she needed me to be a monster to justify keeping us apart. The truth that I was just a man who made a terrible mistake wasn't enough. Tyler is quiet for a long moment. I found the real newspaper articles online. They didn't call you the remorseless road killer. That was just something Mom said. I pled guilty immediately. I tell him. I never tried to avoid responsibility. I accepted my sentence and focused on getting sober. I've been in AA since my first week in prison. Did you ever think about us while you were inside? The question catches me off guard. Every day, every single day, we talk for nearly 2 hours. Tyler asks pointed questions about the accident, my time in prison, my sobriety. I answer everything honestly, even when the truth makes me look awful. By the time we leave the coffee shop, something has shifted between us. Not forgiveness, not yet, but a fragile understanding. 2 days later, Tyler surprises me by asking to see where I live. I've been staying at a halfway house since leaving the motel, a requirement of my parole. It's not much, just a small room with a twin bed and a shared bathroom down the hall, but it's better than prison. It's not very impressive, I warn him as I unlock the door. Tyler steps inside, his eyes taking in the sparse furnishings. A bed with a gray blanket, a small desk with a lamp, a plastic crate holding a few books, and my AA materials. On the wall, I've taped up a calendar where I mark off my days of sobriety, 3,653 and counting. You can sit if you want, I gesture to the desk chair, taking a seat on the bed. Tyler sits cautiously. His eyes land on a small wooden box on my desk. What's in there? I open the box and carefully remove my sobriety chips, one for each year, plus the special ones for milestones. These are from AA. Each one represents a year sober. I hand him the 10-year chip. He turns it over in his palm, reading the Serenity Prayer engraved on the back. I got this 2 months before my release, I tell him. It means more to me than anything I own. From the box, I also pull out several certificates: anger management, restorative justice, parenting classes, all completed during my time in prison. I tried to use my time inside to become someone you could be proud of, I say quietly, even if you never knew. Tyler hands back the chip, his expression thoughtful. Mom brought some of your stuff over yesterday. My stuff? Yeah, a box of things she kept in the attic. Your baseball glove, some old photos, your college diploma. She said it was time I saw who you were before everything. The gesture surprises me. That was good of her. She's trying, Tyler says with a shrug. Dr. Martinez says we all need to try. When I drop Tyler off at home later, Lisa is waiting on the porch. She looks tired but determined. Thank you for bringing him back on time, she says stiffly. Of course. An awkward silence stretches between us until Lisa speaks again. Tyler has a soccer game Thursday afternoon. He mentioned that he wouldn't mind if you came. The invitation catches me completely off guard. Are you sure that's a good idea? No, she admits with a hint of a smile. But it's what Tyler wants, and I think it's time we start listening to what Tyler wants. Thursday arrives with perfect spring weather. I arrive at the soccer field early, nervous about how I'll be received. Lisa is already there, sitting alone in the middle of the bleachers. She waves me over reluctantly. His friend's parents might be difficult, she warns as I sit down, leaving an appropriate distance between us. I've told some of them the truth, but rumors spread. I can handle it, I assure her, though my stomach knots when I notice a group of parents glancing our way, whispering. The team runs onto the field for warm-ups. Tyler spots us and gives a quick, awkward wave. He's good, really good, fast and confident with the ball. I feel a surge of pride watching him, followed by the familiar ache of all I've missed. After the game, Tyler's team wins 3-1. With Tyler scoring the final goal, he approaches with 2 of his teammates. The boys hang back slightly, eyeing me with undisguised curiosity. Good game, I tell him, resisting the urge to hug him or ruffle his hair like I would have when he was 7. Thanks. Tyler shifts his weight from foot to foot. These are my friends, Josh and Marcus. I shake their hands, noting their wary expressions. They've clearly heard something about me. Tyler says you were in prison, Marcus blurts out, earning an elbow in the ribs from Tyler. I was, I answer honestly. I made a terrible mistake and I served my time for it. The boys exchange glances, but something in my straightforward response seems to satisfy their immediate curiosity. They make excuses and head off to join their families, leaving the 3 of us alone. Sorry about that, Tyler mumbles. Don't be. People are going to have questions. It's okay. Lisa suggests we get dinner, and to my surprise, Tyler agrees. We go to a casual pizza place where Tyler talks about school, soccer, and his plans to visit colleges next year. It's stilted and sometimes awkward, but it's a real family dinner, the first in 10 years. As we're leaving the restaurant, Tyler turns to me. Would you want to come over for dinner next Sunday? Like, regularly. We could make it a thing. The simple invitation nearly brings me to my knees. I'd like that very much. Cool. He hesitates, then adds, Mom and I talked about it. We think we need boundaries and stuff. Dr. Martinez helped us figure out some rules. Whatever you need, I tell him. I'm just grateful for the chance. In the parking lot, as Lisa and Tyler head to their car and I to mine, Tyler calls out to me. Hey, Dad. The word sends a shock through my system. It's the first time he's called me that since I came home. Yeah? Tyler meets my eyes, his expression serious but open. I'm learning who you really are. Not the man from the photos, not the stories mom told, just you. It's not forgiveness, it's not a happily ever after, but as I drive back to my halfway house, I realize it's something just as precious a beginning. After 10 years of darkness, it's the first real light I've seen. A chance to be a father again, to the boy who once knew me only through photographs and lies. Now he's learning the truth, and somehow, against all odds, he's willing to let me be part of his life. One dinner, one soccer game, one conversation at a time.